When you're saving for retirement, accumulating wealth feels like climbing a mountain. It takes grit, it takes savings, and it takes discipline. But once you reach that top and prepare to launch into retirement, the game changes completely. Suddenly, a tiny misstep in tax strategy or one emotional panic sell during a market dip can quietly drain hundreds of thousands of dollars from your hard-earned life savings. Today, we reveal the numbers behind what a true planning partnership is actually worth, and why doing it yourself in retirement might be the most expensive decision you ever make. Are you ready?
3, 2, 1, 0, 0. Liftoff. Americans return to space as Discovery clears the tower.
Welcome back to Retirement Isn't Rocket Science. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Mullis, former astrophysicist turned certified financial planner. For 21 years, I've helped people just like you launch their amazing retirements. On this show, we take the complexity out of personal finance so you can lower your taxes, strengthen your portfolio, and spend with total confidence. Episode 23 starts right now. In today's show, is doing it yourself costing your retirement nearly 5% a year? A listener asks if she should avoid using trusts in her estate planning because of trusts' aggressive tax rates. And a century-old mystery is solved. Betelgeuse finally reveals its hidden companion.
Space Shuttle Discovery still on its way to orbit after a successful ascent up through main engine cutoff.
Welcome to the Retirement Briefing Room. This is where we huddle up to take a close look at important aspects of your financial life, spotlight pathways of success, and think about how to integrate these into your retirement mission plan. If you've spent 30 years working hard, saving diligently, and building a multi-million-dollar nest egg, let me start by saying congratulations. You've done the heavy lifting. But as you approach or enter retirement, you enter a totally new dynamic. In aerospace engineering, we know that launch trajectories require absolute precision. A single degree off course at ignition sends a spacecraft thousands of miles off target over time. Retirement planning operates under the exact same physics. During your working years, saving money is relatively straightforward. Live below your means, max out your 401k, and invest in broad market index funds. However, when you pivot from accumulating wealth to distributing income, financial complexity skyrockets. You now face sequence of returns risk, multi-layered tax brackets, Medicare premium surcharges, required minimum distributions, and estate transition decisions. A recent report dives right into this exact challenge. Examining Russell Investments' 13th edition of their Value of Advisors study, the research quantifies something diligent savers often feel intuitively. A professional advisor creates quantifiable value far beyond picking individual stocks. In fact, the study calculates that a comprehensive certified financial planner can add roughly 4.9% in net value annually to a client's financial life. Let's break down the formula Russell Investments created, which they call A plus B plus C plus T equals value, and explore how each component directly protects and expands your retirement mission. The first element in the equation is A for asset allocation, which the study values at about 0.3% per year. Now, 0.3% might sound like a small number on paper, but let's look at how unguided investors actually behave. According to long-term data from the American Association of Individual Investors, self-directed investors hold an average of 20% of their investment portfolio in cash. Why do self-directed retirees hold so much cash? because cash feels safe. It gives a sense of stability when headlines are nerve-wracking. But over a 10, 20, or 30-year retirement, holding 20% in cash creates a massive performance drag that allows inflation to silently erode your purchasing power. When you work with a retirement planning specialist, they construct a portfolio tailored specifically to your retirement timeline and risk tolerance. Instead of keeping excess cash on the sidelines out of uncertainty, an advisor builds a diversified strategy combining domestic large cap growth and value, small caps, international equities, real assets, and fixed income. Over the 20-year period evaluated in the Russell study, advisor-directed portfolios delivered a 7.0% annualized return versus a 6.5% return for self-directed portfolios. Even more importantly, the advisor-directed approach achieved higher risk-adjusted returns. That means you get higher growth while smoothing out the volatility ride, allowing you to sleep soundly at night without sitting on a mountain of idle cash. Next up, the largest single contributor to the advisor value is B for behavioral coaching, valued at a staggering 2.3% per year. We humans are wired with survival instincts that served us well in ancient times, but those same emotional instincts are disastrous in the stock market. When the market tumbles, fear triggers an urge to sell and seek safety. When the market soars, greed triggers an urge to buy high. When you have millions of dollars invested, market volatility isn't just an abstract percentage. A single bad day in the market can move your portfolio hundreds of thousands of dollars. That level of movement triggers intense emotional pressure, especially when you no longer have a weekly paycheck coming in. The study highlights a painful example from March 2020 during the global pandemic outbreak. Panicked, self-directed investors pulled $330 billion out of the market after experiencing a 9% decline. By fleeing to cash at the bottom, those investors missed out on the subsequent 63% market surge over the next 12 months. The data show that retail investors who react emotionally and chase returns underperform the broader market index by 2.3% annually. Having a trusted, experienced fiduciary advisor acts as an emotional circuit breaker. We are here to talk you off the ledge during market panics, keep your plan grounded in facts rather than headlines, and ensure you remain positioned to capture the market's eventual recovery. The third letter in the formula is C for customized family wealth planning, contributing about 1.1% in value annually. In today's digital age, it's relatively straightforward to manage a portfolio, but basic portfolio rebalancing is not wealth planning. A software algorithm cannot sit down with your family to navigate complex life transitions, manage estate distributions, structure charitable giving, or organize legacy plans for your children and grandchildren. For multimillionaire families, customized planning acts like a personal family CFO, Chief Financial Officer. It bridges your investment portfolio directly with your life goals. A professional planner evaluates income and distribution execution, determining exactly which accounts, be it Roth, taxable IRAs, etc., which accounts to pull income from each month to keep your tax bracket low. That planner looks at your estate and legacy planning, ensuring your assets pass to your loved ones efficiently, smoothly, and securely without unnecessary probate delays or estate taxes. That planner has a philanthropic lens, utilizing tools like donor-advised funds or qualified charitable distributions, QCDs, to support your favorite causes in a tax-efficient manner. And finally, that professional planner evaluates healthcare and long-term care, protecting your nest egg against potential catastrophic medical or long-term care expenses down the road. This level of tailored multi-generational planning goes far beyond basic asset management, adding over 1% per year in true financial peace of mind. Finally, we arrive at the fourth pillar, the T for tax smart planning and investing, contributing 1.2% in annual value. Taxes are frequently the single largest expense an affluent retiree will face. Every year, non-tax managed portfolios incur substantial tax drag. That's unnecessary tax bills generated by capital gains distributions, taxable interest, and non-qualified dividends. The study illustrates this visually by comparing a traditional investor with a tax-aware investor across a $1 million taxable portfolio. A traditional non-tax managed portfolio generates unexpected taxable interest, dividends, and capital gains distributions that resulted in nearly $21,000 of federal taxes, which is a 2.1% tax drag on the portfolio. By contrast, a tax-managed portfolio utilizing tax-exempt municipal bonds, capital gains deferrals, and tax-efficient funds incurred just over $800 in taxes, reducing tax drag to a near 0.1%. That single adjustment saved over $20,000 in a single year on a $1 million account. Over a 20-year retirement, avoiding tax drag through proactive asset location, tax loss harvesting, and strategic Roth conversions can preserve hundreds of thousands of dollars for your family rather than Uncle Sam. Before we wrap up this segment, let's summarize the key takeaways from the Russell Investments study. Number 1, total quantifiable value. Working with a holistic financial advisor can add an estimated 4.9% annually in overall net value to your retirement wealth. Where's that coming from? 0.3% from smart allocation, moving away from excess cash hoarding into a properly diversified, risk-adjusted portfolio boosts long-term growth while managing volatility. 2.3% of that advantage comes from behavioral guardrails. Having a certified financial planner serves as an emotional coach that prevents costly panic selling and market timing mistakes during periods of high volatility. 1.1% comes from customized planning. Tailored family wealth strategies integrate your income needs, estate wishes, and legacy goals far beyond what basic software offers. And 1.2% comes from tax efficiency. Proactive tax management reduces tax drag by 2.1% down to 0.1%, preserving significantly more of your wealth during retirement. Building your multi-million-dollar nest egg requires decades of hard work, discipline, and diligent savings. But enjoying a secure, tax-efficient retirement requires a completely different skill set, one focused on wealth preservation, emotional discipline, and strategic distribution. Your retirement is far too important to go it alone. By putting a comprehensive, tax-smart flight plan in place today, you can navigate life's unexpected turns with complete confidence and enjoy the ride. You'll find a link to the Russell Investments report in the show notes and in our weekly newsletter. Now, let's head over to Mission Control to answer your financial questions and get you retirement ready.
Discovery Houston, 20 seconds to LOS TDRS.
Roger, nice to be in orbit.
Welcome to Ask Mission Control. This week's question comes from listener Erin. She writes, I'm updating my estate plans and thinking about adding a trust, but my friend warned me not to use a trust because trusts pay the highest income taxes. Is that true? Erin, first off, thank your friend for looking out for you. There is a seed of truth in what they're saying, but as with most things in the financial universe, the full story is much more nuanced. Hearing "don't use a trust because trusts pay the highest tax rates" without context is one of the single biggest estate planning misconceptions out there. So let's clear the air and break this down into plain English. To understand why your friend warned you, we have to talk about how the IRS treats trusts. If you imagine tax brackets like altitude levels in an orbit, a regular individual or married couple filing jointly has a long runway before they hit the highest tax atmosphere. But a trust, it hits the top federal tax bracket almost instantly at just around $15,000 of retained income. So if a trust hangs on to its earnings year after year, yes, Uncle Sam takes a very big bite at the highest rates. So why on earth would diligent savers with a multi-million-dollar portfolio use trusts if this is true? It's because, in practice, most trusts aren't sitting around paying those sky-high rates. It all comes down to two crucial factors. First, how the trust is structured by your estate team, and second, how the income is handled by your trustee. First, let's talk about structure. Many of the trusts created for estate planning are what the IRS call grantor trusts. Think of a grantor trust like a transparent glass pipe. Assets sit inside the trust for legal protection, probate avoidance, or control over how wealth passes to heirs. But for income tax purposes, the IRS treats the glass pipe as completely invisible. Any interest, dividends, or capital gains generated inside that trust bypass the trust entirely and flow straight onto your personal tax return. It gets taxed at your normal individual rate, not those terrifying trust rates. The trust itself pays zero income tax. Now, what if your trust isn't a grantor trust? What if it's a non-grantor trust, which is a separate tax-paying entity altogether? This often happens after someone passes away or in specific asset protection strategies. This is where the second factor comes in. That is distribution. Think of a non-grantor trust like a holding reservoir. Income comes into the trust during the year from your investment portfolio. If the trustee keeps that income locked into the reservoir past the end of the tax year, it gets taxed at those aggressive trust rates. But a skilled trustee working with a competent CPA rarely lets that happen unless there's a compelling reason to hold funds back, like protecting a vulnerable beneficiary, for example. Instead, before the tax year ends, the trustee opens the release valve and distributes that income out to your beneficiaries. That would likely be your children or your grandchildren. When that income is distributed, the tax liability travels along with it on a tax document called a Schedule K-1. The trust receives a deduction for distributing the income, and the beneficiaries report it on their own personal tax returns. Since your kids or grandkids are likely in a much lower tax bracket than the top trust tier, your family ends up paying far less in total taxes. So, who ultimately bears the income tax liability? It's not an unavoidable penalty of using a trust. It's a matter of intentional design. When a fee-only certified financial planner coordinates your investment portfolio, income plan, and tax strategy alongside your estate attorney, we ensure your trust's tax strategy aligns perfectly with your legacy goals, balancing asset protection, family dynamics, and tax efficiency. To summarize the key points we've covered in this great question, first, while trust tax brackets compress quickly, trusts rarely pay those top rates in practice. Second, grantor trusts pass income directly to your personal tax return at your regular individual tax rate. Third, for non-grantor trusts, distributing income to beneficiaries shift the tax bill to their personal, usually lower, tax brackets via a K-1. And finally, paying taxes at trust rates is a choice of design and timing, not an inescapable tax trap. Aaron, thanks again for this estate planning and tax question. What a great intersection to be thinking about in that space. If you've got a retirement question that you'd like us to answer on the show, head over to retirementisn'trocketscience.com and click Ask a Question. Or even better, you can skip to the front of the line by calling Mission Control at 704-234-6550 and record your own audio question. Now, let's peer towards Orion and learn how Betelgeuse's companion star is finally ready for its close-up.
And Houston Discovery.
In Discovery Houston, we've got a good picture of Steve.
Welcome to the Retirement Big Picture part of our show. This is where we look up and look out to expand our appreciation and understanding of our beautiful universe. A long time ago, in a galaxy not far, far away, I spent nearly 2 decades studying the cosmos as an observational astrophysicist. So this subject is near and dear to my heart and my mind. Today, we're talking about one of the most famous stars in human history, Betelgeuse. If you've ever stepped outside on a clear winter evening anywhere across the United States and looked up at the iconic constellation Orion, you've seen Betelgeuse. It's the bright, glowing reddish star sitting right at Orion's shoulder. In fact, that's where it gets its name from. Betelgeuse comes from a centuries-old mistranslation of an Arabic phrase which literally translates to the hand or the armpit of the central one. For thousands of years, stargazers and amateur astronomers have enjoyed Betelgeuse with the naked eye and small backyard telescopes. We knew it was a colossal red supergiant, a star so massive that if you placed it at the center of our solar system, its outer surface would engulf Jupiter. But despite all that attention, Betelgeuse was hiding a partner right in plain sight. For over 100 years, astronomers suspected Betelgeuse wasn't traveling through space alone. Its brightness kept pulsing in a subtle way that a single star shouldn't. But proving another star was orbiting it was incredibly difficult because Betelgeuse is so overwhelmingly bright that its glare washes out everything nearby. That brings us to a historic breakthrough announced late July. A research team led by French astronomer Miguel Montars at the Observatoire de Paris captured the clearest direct image ever of Betelgeuse B. How did they catch it? Back in 2024, theoretical models predicted that by December 2024, this elusive companion would reach the farthest point in its orbit, giving astronomers their best window of opportunity. This team pointed the European Southern Observatory's Very Large Telescope, that's ESO's VLT, located high in the Chilean Atacama Desert. They pointed the VLT straight at the star. Using an advanced instrument called SPHERE, which uses high contrast processing originally designed to find distant exoplanets, they filtered out Betelgeuse's blinding light. When they processed the data, they literally jumped out of their chair. It turns out that Betelgeuse B isn't just a faint, tiny rock. It's a star 2 to 3 times the mass of our sun. Hints of its presence had previously been detected by ground-based observatories like Gemini North in Hawaii, but this new VLT image provides the strongest proof yet. Now, you might wonder, what about our space telescopes? NASA's missions have had their eyes on Betelgeuse for decades. The Hubble Space Telescope gave us our first detailed ultraviolet images of its giant atmosphere. And more recently, the James Webb Space Telescope, JWST, has been using its powerful infrared vision to study the star. When Betelgeuse famously dimmed a few years ago, causing headlines to speculate it was about to go supernova, observations from Hubble and JWST revealed the truth. The star wasn't exploding just yet. It had simply spewed out a massive cloud of dust that temporarily blocked its light. JWST's recent mid-infrared imaging continues to reveal how thermal energy and dust flow around aging supergiants, helping us understand how companion stars like Betelgeuse B shape the future evolution and ultimate supernova explosion of their host stars. Combining JWST's view from space with high-resolution ground-based giant telescopes like the VLT gives us a complete picture. This century-long search is a great reminder for life on Earth, too. Sometimes the most important factors in our financial galaxy, hidden tax drag, unexpected market shifts, or a new retirement goal, aren't obvious at first glance. It takes patience, the right tools, and a seasoned perspective to bring what matters into focus so you can navigate your retirement with confidence. Astronomers plan to observe Betelgeuse B again in a year when it swings to the other side of its orbit, sealing the deal on a 100-year quest. It goes to show that even in a universe full of complex variables, clarity is always within reach when you have the right vantage point. You'll find the ESO image of Betelgeuse and its shy companion in this week's newsletter, The Launch. You can sign up for The Launch at retirementisn'trocketscience.com.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful.
So I have to take it up to hangar, Joe?
We're going to dust it off first.
Today, we've taken a close look at the latest research of how comprehensive financial guidance creates an estimated 4.9% in annual added value through strategic asset allocation, behavioral coaching, tailored family planning, and tax-smart investing. To move from theory to execution, here are your next primary mission objectives. Number 1, audit your investment accounts and calculate what percentage of your liquid wealth sits in cash. Action number 2 is to create a volatility playbook. Write down an investment policy statement or a behavioral agreement before the next market decline. Define your target allocation, rebalancing thresholds, and explicitly state that market downturns are not selling triggers. Committing to staying fully invested prevents impulse market timing moves that permanently erode your retirement wealth. And action number 3 is move beyond basic investment selection and outline a comprehensive family roadmap. Map out planned life changes like retirement transition timelines, legacy desires, trust structures, and caregiving needs. And verify that your financial structure actively aligns with these personal milestones, not just a generic benchmark. I challenge you to take one idea from today's show and put it into practice this week to make your retirement even better. Thank you so much for joining me. You've spent a lifetime doing the hard work of accumulating your wealth. Now let's do the smart strategic planning to secure it. Until next time, keep your eyes on the horizon. Enjoy the ride. You are go for retirement.
Mission complete, Houston. After serving the world for over 30 years, the space shuttle's earned its place in history and it's come to a final stop.
We copy your will stop, and we'll take this opportunity to congratulate you, Atlantis, as well as the thousands of passionate individuals across this great spacefaring nation.
We thank the National Aeronautics and Space Administration for providing the radio communications between the Space Shuttle astronauts and the flight controllers. This show is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It is not specific tax, legal, or investment advice. Before considering acting on anything you hear in this show, first consult with your own tax, legal, or financial advisor.